The Museum of Time. There was a legend in the town of Veradale, a tale whispered among the townsfolk for generations. It was said that deep within the forest, hidden from the eyes of ordinary travelers, stood a peculiar museum. This was not an ordinary museum. It was the Museum of Time. And inside its walls, it housed not only artifacts of the past, but the very essence of time itself. Its collection was said to span not just history, but the future as well, and those who entered its halls could experience moments from any point in time, if they were brave enough to walk its floors. One foggy afternoon, while wandering in the woods, Maeve stumbled upon the entrance to this fabled museum. She had heard the rumors, of course. Everyone in the village had. But she never truly believed in them, until now. The museum stood before her, an ancient stone building draped in ivy, its grand doors slightly ajar. The air around it seemed to hum with a strange, almost magnetic pull. Unable to resist, Maeve stepped through the doorway. Inside, the museum was vast, much larger than its exterior suggested. The walls stretched endlessly, lined with displays that glimmered with a soft, ethereal light. Each exhibit was a window into a different moment in time. There were no labels, no signs, only the objects themselves, each more extraordinary than the last. She walked past an ancient scroll that unraveled itself midair, revealing the first words ever written by humans. Another display featured a piece of the first sunrise, captured in a shimmering, golden sphere. And there, in a dimly lit corner, was a small hourglass, its sand not falling, but rising. But it wasn't just the exhibits that fascinated Maeve, it was the atmosphere itself. She could feel time itself moving within the museum. Some areas felt timeless, others felt fleeting, like moments slipping away. And as she walked, she noticed something even stranger. There was no sense of day or night here, no sense of past or future. The museum existed outside of time, in a space where the flow of time was at once fluid and solid. Her curiosity led her deeper into the museum, where she encountered an elderly man standing in front of a large, ornate clock. His face was weathered, his eyes filled with both wisdom and sorrow. "Ah, another wanderer," the man said with a warm smile, though there was a sadness in his voice. "Welcome to the Museum of Time." Maeve hesitated, unsure whether to approach, but something in the man's gaze drew her in. "This place, it's real?" she asked, still finding it hard to believe. The man chuckled softly. "Real? I suppose that depends on how you define reality. You see, time is not as linear as you might think. It bends, it warps, it loops in on itself. This museum is a manifestation of that very truth." Maeve's heart raced with wonder. But how? How can all of this exist? The old man's eyes twinkled with a knowing look. "Ah, the Museum of Time is not a place of mere exhibits. It is a vessel, a keeper of time's many facets. It was created by those who understood the true nature of time. It contains moments from every possible timeline, the past, the present, and even the future. But it is not for the faint of heart." Maeve blinked. "The future? You mean, it holds pieces of the future?" He nodded gravely. "Indeed. But one must tread carefully. You see, time is a delicate thing. A single step in the wrong direction, and it can fracture, splinter into infinite possibilities. Some things are meant to be discovered, others are better left untouched." Maeve's curiosity burned. "I want to see more. I want to understand how time works." The old man studied her closely before nodding. "Very well, follow me." He led her down a series of winding corridors, each one more unusual than the last. In one hallway, the floor was made of a translucent material, and beneath it, Maeve saw scenes from her own life, moments she had forgotten, moments she hadn't realized mattered. As she walked, the images shifted and changed, showing her choices she had made, paths she had taken. Finally, they arrived at a massive door, a door unlike any other. It was made of bronze and adorned with intricate symbols of clocks, spirals, and celestial bodies. The old man turned to Maeve. "This is the Hall of Lost Time," he said. "Inside, you will find glimpses of what could have been, what might yet be, and what never came to pass. But be warned, for these are the most fragile fragments of time. They are not meant to be tampered with." Maeve, entranced by the door, felt an irresistible pull to see what lay inside. She stepped forward, reaching for the handle. The moment her fingers touched the cold metal, the door creaked open on its own, revealing a room that seemed to stretch on forever. Inside were countless orbs, each one glowing with a soft, pulsing light. Some were small, no bigger than a marble, while others were as large as the moon. Each orb contained a scene from a different time, a moment, a choice, a life. Maeve walked through the room, her eyes wide with wonder. One orb contained a young woman, her eyes filled with hope, standing at the edge of a cliff. Another showed a soldier, tired and broken, lying on a battlefield. And in a third orb, Maeve saw a child, playing in the sun, unaware of the tragedy that would befall their family years later. It was overwhelming. Every moment she gazed upon seemed to pulse with life, and yet they were all fragile, like delicate bubbles that could burst at any moment. She stopped in front of an orb that caught her attention, a young girl, no older than Maeve herself, sitting alone at a table. There was an empty chair beside her, and the girl stared at the door, waiting for someone who never arrived. Maeve's heart ached with empathy. She reached out to touch the orb, but the old man's voice stopped her. "Don't," he warned. "That moment is not yours to change. To interfere with time's natural course is to unravel it. Some things are meant to remain as they are." Maeve hesitated, her hand hovering just above the orb. She understood the weight of his words, but the pull of the moment was strong. What would have happened if that chair had been filled? If the person had arrived? I don't want to cause harm," she whispered, pulling her hand back. The old man nodded, a knowing smile tugging at his lips. "It is good that you understand. Time, though full of potential, is fragile. You may wish to change things, but every change ripples outward, creating consequences beyond your understanding." Maeve stood silently for a moment, absorbing the lesson. She realized that the true gift of the Museum of Time wasn't just in the moments it contained, but in the understanding that time, with all its twists and turns, is a force that must be respected. "I think I'm ready to leave," she said quietly. The old man smiled warmly, his eyes filled with approval. "Then go, and remember, time is not something to possess or control. It is a gift to be lived, moment by moment." As Maeve turned to leave the Museum of Time, the doors closed softly behind her, and the museum faded into the mists of the forest. She emerged back into the world, her heart filled with new wisdom. Time was no longer something she could take for granted. It was fleeting, fragile, and beautiful in its imperfection. And though she would never forget what she had seen within the museum's walls, Maeve knew that it was now her turn to live the moments that had yet to be written.